What is up, guys? Welcome to the Unfazed Facts Podcast, a podcast dedicated to all things Gym Leader Challenge. I'm Joshua, and I'm here with Jeff. And I don't know about you guys, but we have a brand new set coming out. That is going to be Mega Evolution, not Evolutions. I've been saying Mega Evolutions, but it's just Mega Evolution. And that comes out pretty soon. For here in the U.S., it's going to be the 26th. Yeah, the 26th, and I believe that Europe has it coming out a little bit later because of some delay issues. But nonetheless, it's going to be coming out, and we have some cool cards coming out for GLC. Now, Jeff, are you excited about these cards coming out for Gym Leader Challenge from this new Mega Evolution set?
Oh, dude, I'm kind of excited. I mean, it's always nice when new cards come out, especially as someone who was on the content grind for so long. New cards mean new decks, right? And then you look at the cards that we're getting in Mega Evolutions, and you're like, yeah, these are cool cards, but I don't think that we're going to see a lot of diverse archetypes being birthed from them. I think we're going to see them kind of slot into some existing things, shake up some things, though, for sure, Josh. I think that we're going to see kind of a big change in what we've come to know in the Gym Leader Challenge world.
Oh, yeah. There's going to be a possible big meta shift, maybe bouncing something pretty far up the tier scale. I'm not sure. We're not sure exactly where that's going to be at, but it should bump it up at least a couple tiers. And we're not going to talk about it just yet, but we will get there, and you guys will know it when we get to it. But a couple things that I'm kind of looking forward to this is, a couple new stadiums coming out. I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to playing with a few of the new trainers. Some of the new supporters, more specifically, are kind of fun to play with. And some are going to take over existing supporters that we have now that are decently powerful right now. And they just become even more powerful, which is kind of pretty cool depending on whenever you play it.
Yeah. Rest in peace, OG Chorus.
Yeah, rest in peace. All sorts of different cards. And I'm excited to get into it, Jeff. Are you excited to hop in this with me?
Let's just do it, man. It's a set review. Get your water. It's going to be 2 hours, chat. Let's do it.
It's a 2 Dude, I was thinking about that the whole time. I was like, man, 2 hours. Are we going to do this for 2 hours? And you never know how long these things are going to go, just because we could talk forever about something, or we might not talk that much about it. So
yeah, selfishly, I messaged you and I was like, hey, let's you want to start early? And Josh was like, I gotta finish coloring. And I was like, okay, bro, get your colors on.
Yeah, I got a new show coming up in late October, so I'm getting some pieces done for that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, maybe we'll talk about that some other time, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah, you'll have to show us some of your pieces.
Oh yeah. It'll be good. But nonetheless, we got a starter taking over a former starter spot in grass. Meganium is taking over the Venusaur. I know us Gen 1ers are going to be severely disappointed to take out this Venusaur out of their deck. It's not necessarily where you can play both, kind of like you can in a water deck where you can play both Rain Dancers, because, one is a backup Rain Dancer, but this is just something that doubles the energy that you already have out on the field. But you got a slight upgrade from Venusaur to Meganium. We have 160 HP, but we have retreat cost 2 less, so that's going to be extremely helpful if something gets, if your opponent's trying to stall, or if this gets stuck in the active somehow, you're going to be able to retreat it a lot more easily than you would a Venusaur. That guy is a big boy, but they basically have the exact same ability, just differently named: Jungle Totem and Wild Growth.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm with you. It's sad to see Venusaur probably be power crept out of the format. I am glad, again, Chikorita Meganium Chad over here. I love everything about Meganium. I think it's awesome, sweet card, awesome, sweet Pokemon. So I'm excited to see that. You mentioned the retreat cost. I mean, with the ability, it's just 1. And you see grass decks of the past. One of the ways that they kind of got into a bit of trouble was they got their Venusaur gusted up into the active, right? Now you've got to use Rillis Boom to attach 2 energy to Venusaur, which is doubled up, which lets you retreat. But now you've thrown 2 energy in the discard pile, and all of a sudden resource management comes into play. You're running 11 grass energy, 2 are the discard. What are you going to do when you run out? And those sort of things kind of came up. Plus, Venusaur was never taking a KO. I mean, 90 damage is nothing. So Meganium is just better in every conceivable way. But the only thing that the Venusaur line still has going for it is you do still have a really good Bulbasaur that can search up, find a friend. I think it's the Pokemon Go. Bulbasaur has a really good setup attack. And then there's an Ivysaur with 100 HP, which I actually still prefer the 90 HP for level ball reasons. But there is a 100 HP Ivysaur that's also pretty good. So, looking at that Bulbasaur and the Ivysaur, you're kind of like, okay, these are better, if all things are going bad, let me get set up with these cards sort of deal. But I still think you're probably going to want to play a 70 HP Pokemon. And in that case, why not just play the 70 HP Chikorita over the 60 HP Bulbasaur? So I do think Meganium's just better in every way at this point. I would play Meganium 100% over the Venusaur line. Plus, it's just better design. I mean, Flower Dinosaur, Josh. Flower Dinosaur. Better than
they're both
Tree Frog.
They're both kind of okay. Tree Frog. I always viewed Venusaur like a dinosaur, until I realized he was a frog, just a giant frog.
Yeah,
but hey, look at this. Look at these poses. They both have the exact same pose. I don't know if that was supposed to be on purpose or not, but they kind of have the same pose, mouth open, same angle. I don't know if there was a little bit of inspiration there, but yeah, I do enjoy that the solar beam got a little stronger over the years.
Yes,
from
finally.
90 to 140. That's 50 extra HP, and it's hitting those strange 140 HP numbers that you don't necessarily see on a lot of Pokemon. It's like 120, 130, but you never really see 140, and 140 is kind of like a magic number nowadays.
Yeah, that's a good number. Plus, I mean, you mentioned the art. That AI generated slosh that Venusaur is, that Jungle Tone Venusaur, it's just the worst art, right? Like I love Venusaur as a Pokemon, but man, that art is bad. So get it out of the format just for that reason. But the Meganium art, pretty good. I like it. So, the vines coming out, kudos to the Meganium.
Hey, speaking of art that we don't like, this is like the CGI, whatever 3D mold art.
Mm-hmm.
You know what art that, especially my wife, whenever she sees it, and she's like, ugh. It's those little yarn. It's those little yarn ones.
Oh,
or the little clay ones.
Okay, I have mixed feelings about those, but I get that vibe. If you don't like those, that's fine. But I think we could all agree that this Venusaur's trash. So,
yeah, I always hate it whenever there's a good statistical Pokemon has really good stats, and then the art's just this Venusaur. It's not terrible, but it could be way better.
Yeah.
Moving on to a new guy. We got Tangrowth, stage 1. Has 150 HP, and we're not necessarily looking at the first attack, but we got the second attack. It's going to be 2 grass, 2 colorless. Bulky Whip, 120 plus damage. If this Pokemon has 2 extra energy in addition to this attack's cost, this does 140 extra damage, which is going to be 260 damage, which knocks out pretty much everything in the game, right, Jeff?
Yeah, I mean, Wailord is, I think, Arceus Mon, sitting at 240 currently. So, yeah, this is small.
Yeah, and he's going to be able to hit through any of that for 3 energy if you have Meganium or Venusaur doubling those attack cost. Now, the only thing I could compare this to is Tapu Bulu, Wood Hammer for 2 grass, 2 colorless, 220. It does 30 damage to itself, which is the downside, which makes it kind of easier for your opponent to reach those numbers. But it's a basic. It's got less retreat cost. It's just kind of better in all aspects. But the Tangrowth also is just essentially a wall breaker. If you wanted to play with that, It can hit through pretty much everything, depending on if the jungle, the JTG, the Journey Together Waylord has nothing on there.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, if you like Tangrowth, like 100% try this card out. But like you said it, Tapu Bulu is just better. And like the main reason why Tapu Bulu is better, besides being a basic, besides having less retreat cost, besides having like the same exact HP here, is that it really only takes one Rillaboom to get it going, right? 2 energy attached, plus you have your Wild Growth Meganium up, and it's just going to be attacking in one turn. Whereas, the Tangrowth is going to need a little bit of love. It needs not only that 2 energy, plus an additional 3 to get to the 6 doubled up, which is either another turn or like a Raihan play. So it's tough for me to see the Tangrowth really being optimal, but like if Tangrowth is a mon that you love, I see it. I have not a lot of love for Tangrowth. I think it was from a generation that I never really played, but I do love me the basic. What, Tangela? Give me a Tangela any day.
Oh yeah, Tangela.
Yeah.
Hey, I think it's from the same generation that brought us Magmortar
And Electivire?
Electivire, yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Give all those basics an evolution. I thought they were fine as just basics, though.
Yeah, and I also wasn't the biggest fan of that generation either. It was kind of like a meh. There was a lot of meh generations for me, but if you like it, play it.
Yeah, exactly. I won't judge you.
Then we got Fire. We got some Ninetales action, 120 HP, stage 1. There are some good Ninetales in the format, but this one kind of had some synergy in there, and sometimes whenever it comes to GLC, if it has synergy, you might just consider it. And this Ninetales right here, for 1 colorless, has suspicious shape-shifting. Discard the top card of your deck if that card is a supporter. Use its effect as the effect of this attack. And something that you can synergize this with is the Macargo, where you can put a card on top of your deck to stack it, and then you can use this Ninetales. Now, whenever you do use this attack, your turn ends, so you want to make sure that whatever effect that you are using from that supporter is going to be something that, either gets you another turn or is very valuable to what you're going to be doing on the next turn.
Yeah. And I mean, like top deck Fire is kind of like could be a thing when you think about it. Like, obviously, you got cards like Max Elixir and Ether that like let you get an extra attachment. You have the Spirit Burner Chandelier too. So like there's like a shell in place to just like kind of already be trying to stack the top of your deck. And this Ninetales kind of just plays into what those cards are already doing. Not saying that it would ever be like uber competitive, but it would be real neat and real cool. This really reminds me of this like another Mimikyu. I think it's the Imposter Mimikyu in the format. This like, its attack is, choose a supporter from your hand and play it. So like it could technically let you like Colress Experiment plus like Hex in a single turn. So this is kind of cool in that same regard. Like you could get, a double supporter off. It's just unfortunate that like the way that Fire is kind of set up is that like it wants to be attacking every turn. It wants to be getting extra attachments. So the fact that you would have to maybe use this attack to get the extra attachments that let your opponent kind of respond to that before you can do it is kind of a downside. Whereas like something like Lost Zone Psychic is just trying to kind of get to those 10 cards in the Lost Zone while they're stalling. So it's a little bit easier for that Imposter Mimikyu to have a go at it than it is necessarily this Ninetales. So cool card. Love to brew with it. Excited to see what people are brewing with it, if they are. But the other Ninetales superior. And I love the other Ninetales too. Beautiful illustrated art.
Oh, yeah. And it does what, non-damage counters to the active? Or no, to anything?
To anything. It's everything in a Baisch card. It's just everything I love. It's a Gen 1. It does damage to the bench. It's damage counters. And it's an early cheap attacker on turn 2. Love it.
Which one is he going to play, guys? Which one is he going to play?
The good one.
Next up, we got Reboot. This is Reboot, right?
Cinderace.
Cinderace. Yeah, you can tell how many times I've played this generation right here.
Sword and Shield,
we got
baby.
Cinderace. 160 HP at stage 2, so it's just one of those things where fire having the space that it needs to occupy. Are you going to play another stage 2? But this one, however, is going to be one of those ones that you could play in your setup. So you could play, has the ability, if this Pokemon is in your hand when you're setting it to play, you may put it face down as your active Pokemon. So you can put it in your active Pokemon's position, and then you have Flare Turbo for 1 colorless. Does 50 damage, search your deck for up to 3 basic energy cards and attach them to your bench Pokemon in any way you like. So if you want to maybe just play it as a one-of to possibly get the ability usage off of that, you might consider it as a good and wonderful starter to be able to get that going. Now, what are the odds of that happening in a 60-card deck every time? I've seen people use Battle VIP Pass and have some good success with that. So,
yeah, I mean,
it might happen more often than you think. But it kind of has a similar ability as Luxray, where you get to kind of play a stage 2 straight to the bench. Luxray is a little bit easier to do so whenever Cinderace is just one of those dead cards in your hand if it didn't happen on that first turn.
Yeah, and there's another Luxray that's like this exact ability, the explosiveness. Right? You play it into the active, and then it has an attack that like lets you get any 2 cards from your deck. And then I think there's, and I might be wrong on that a little bit, but there's a Talonflame too in colorless that's kind of the same way. And at one point, if you look at Cardboard Warrior statistics going back to tournaments, I think at one point the highest win rate was a colorless deck that had played Talonflame. This was I think this was what's the stadium, the lab stadium that lets the fossils play? It's Pokemon Research Lab. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It was when that card was in the format. So colorless was still just crushing people, but it just so happened that some of the lists were running the Talonflame. So these abilities are definitely like hit or miss. Like it's either busted and you're just gonna run away with the game, or like sometimes like the problem with this one over the other two is they let you go and get any cards, whereas this one lets you attach energy to your bench Pokemon. If this is all you got, man, it's not good enough, right? So like this needs help. So it's going to be hard to justify playing this, especially when there's a couple of other good Cinderaces to look at as well. But it's cool. It's neat. We'll try it.
Yeah. Give it a try if you want. Throw it in there. And you could also, if you wanted to, I mean, it might be a waste of space, but you could, well, never mind. It's a singleton format.
Yeah. And like Fire just doesn't have any discard, right? Like the Salazzle needs to discard specifically fire energy, whereas in like Lightning, you can just like discard your entire hand and draw 4, right? So if that Luxray gets stuck in your hand, you're just like adios and draw some more, right? This is just going to be sticking around in your hand. Making draw up 2 effects maybe a little worse. But, it is what it is.
Waiting for an Ultra Ball to please use it with.
I want to draw a Quick Ball just so I don't have to look at this card.
Then we got Numel. Numel is just like maybe a basic that you want to play. It has 80 HP, so you can't necessarily search it off of Buddy Poffin, but it's still lovable, searchable. You have Call for Family for 1 fire. Search your deck for up to 2 basic Pokemon and put them onto your bench. So it's just one of those cards that I want to throw in just if you like playing the Camerupt and you want to possibly play with a new Numel, you can play with a new Numel coming from the new Mega Evolution set.
Yeah. Always good to have a setup attack on a basic, especially one that can't be sniped by a Raging Bolt. So 80 HP, kind of relevant there. A little sad that it's not 70, right? Because 70 is the sweet spot, that Buddy Poffin number. So if this was 10 HP less, it'd be much better, I think. But there are a couple of good Camerups out there. So I think this will see play at some point. But yeah.
Yeah. That's all I got to say about it.
I mean, yeah, it's a setup. It's Basculegion, but and fire.
Yeah. Speaking of Basculegion, we have something that kind of has the same-ish attack. We got Kyogre, 150 HP. This is the much better Kyogre. It's going to take over the other Kyogre really easily.
He said facetiously.
JK. It's a decent Kyogre with 150 HP. Doesn't have 140, so it's a little bit better in that regard. But it has an interesting attack, Riptide 20 times damage. This attack does 20 damage for each water energy card in your discard pile. Then shuffle those cards into your deck. So it's like the Hisuian and Bastia Legion that you would possibly have in your deck if you played a water deck that you knew that you're going to get a lot of water into the discard. You might just throw this in there. It's a free attack, so it doesn't even take up your energy as well. So in that regard, it's actually kind of better in that sense. And then, you have Swirling Waves, 130 damage, discard 2 energy from this Pokemon. So you have where you get the discard, kind of like Bastion Legion also as well. But it's 3 energy for 130, not the worst attack, not the best attack. And then you might be able to recycle a little bit of those energies that go in the discarder with the Riptide damage, which I think there's some little synergy built in with it. Since you have to discard 2, there's should be 1 left on there, and then you use the Riptide attack. But it's not the greatest. It's not going to be better than the Kyogre that we currently have right now that has that 180 snipe. But it is not an absolutely terrible card. There's just better cards for it.
Yeah, it's just kind of a bummer that it got printed on a Kyogre. It's like, yeah, when you look at it, you're like, hey, that's pretty good. Because you think about what water has, like obviously now a lot of your big hitters have a lot of energy on them anyway. The Wailord takes up to 4 energy, right? So when it gets KO'd, obviously there's a lot of energy sitting in your discard pile that you want to recover. Well, hey, what if you were able to get an extra use out of that by being able to attack and then shuffle it back into your deck? That's pretty sweet. Now, then you have Rapid Strike Starmie that's just like, the machine gun and water that lets you discard a water energy from it to do 30 damage to whichever Pokemon you'd like, or at least up to multiples of 30. And so like you could, you do a huge turn where you just like Rapid Strike Starmie and, almost board wipe and then come up with this Kyogre and use Riptide for a ton of damage and then put all that energy that you discarded back into your deck. And then maybe you finish it off with one of those attacks that like, there's like a Gyarados, right? That like reveal the top 6 cards and do 70 damage for each one, or like Aqua Storm Kyogre, which you can't be playing with this Kyogre anyway. Which would be doing kind of cool things. So like, that you could see where the synergies line up, but like, as far as like what is a super overly powerful card going to look like, it's the other Kyogre. So that's just where the real downside of it is. So if you are trying to play this same attack or same effect, obviously Basculin, the Hisuian Basculin has a great setup attack into this great secondary attack. So why not just play this Basculegion and just play the other Kyogre? And I think that's where most people's brains will be when it comes to evaluating this card.
Yep. Yeah, Kyogre, not the best, not the worst. It's just, actually, the art is pretty nice. It looks pretty nice.
I actually really like the art. I mean, like,
it's a nice looking card.
Yeah, when you look at it, you're kind of like, dang, I just wish I could swap the arts, maybe add a little extra HP to the other Kyogre, and like we're in a good place.
Oh yeah, just put them together.
Just print this on like a Psyduck, dude. Just like, give me a playable Psyduck in GLC. If they just put this on a Psyduck, just sick. Busted. Love it. Instead, it's on a Kyogre.
Yep, put it on a Psyduck. Hey, speaking of art, man, look at this Clawlitzer doing a Kamehameha wave, dude. Clauncher. Doing like a Kamehameha wave, bro.
Yeah, dude. This art's pretty sick too. And I'm gonna have a Krabby behind me. I love the crab Pokemon. I don't know what it is, so any crustacean, give it to me. I want them to do cool things, and this is a cool card.
Oh yeah, man! It's stage 1, 130 HP. Has the really cool ability reverse and reload. Once during your turn, when this Pokemon moves from the active spot to the bench, you may use this ability to attach up the 2 water energy cards from your hand to this Pokemon, so it loads itself, which is really cool. And if you got some other switchers, you can get it back in the active. Use Aqua Launcher for 210 damage, and then you discard all energy from the Pokemon, which is kind of a low price to play with all of the different energy ways to get back energy from the discard pile that water has. Like it has Nessa, where you can get it immediately back. You've got Clara, you've got Super Rod, you got all these
energy retrieval.
Yeah, you got superior energy retrieval, ordinary rod. You have all these different ways to get energy back into the deck, and discarding all energy for 210 isn't that bad, especially whenever it kind of loads itself up. And if it can survive a couple turns, maybe with the luxurious cape or something of that sort, anything like that. This is kind of a cool card, actually.
Yeah,
for more of an aggro deck.
For sure. And I mean, like the Palafin is already like a card that people are trying to work with. It requires it to switch into the active to do 210 damage as well. So like you're already seeing kind of like a switch in and out water deck existing. We're going to talk about the stadium in a second. That's going to help this archetype flourish even further. You've got the Switch Raft card, which is something that's unique to water in GLC. So like there's all these different tools that this type of deck is going to have. And so I just think that this card like adds another dimension to that level. I mean, you even got the Feraligatr, the Croco, whatever the middle evolution is. I can't remember what the name of the middle evolution.
Croconaw.
Yeah, the Croconaw. It's got the plunge ability, lets it switch and grab energy. So like this archetype's going to be really cool. I love switching in and out. So like this is something that I really want. You're going to have situational attackers. You're going to be hitting for huge damage. Plus you got Inteleon Octillery. So like what's not to love about, what this is going to look like going forward? Is it going to push, traditional hydro pump water builds kind of out of the way, Josh? I don't know, because like we all know that like the real weakness of traditional water decks is ability lock. And so you're getting around some of that with these lower to the ground, doesn't necessarily need a hydro pump. These attackers charge themselves up or just need one or two attachments. So I could see these water decks really flourishing, especially if ability lock starts popping up here and there, like I kind of think it will.
Yeah, it won't be too bad. And I lost my train of thought.
It was probably about Seismitoad. It's a good card too.
Dude, that train went. Might come back later.
Hey, reverse and reload. We'll come back.
Reverse and reload. All right, we're there. We're gonna reverse and reload and talk about this Inteleon, which Inteleon is always getting printed cards, man.
Dude, yeah.
Inteleon, like good or bad,
Ogre and water. Oof.
It's always coming, and this one's a little cute. It might not replace too much, the shitty dealings Inteleon. We also got the quick shooting Inteleon that's kind of makes a little showing in some spread decks or like free water decks and stuff like that. But you have this specific Inteleon and it has like this bring down attack for one water, the Pokemon in play that has the least HP remaining, except this Pokemon is knocked out. So if you happen to have between you and your opponent's Pokemon, your opponent has the lowest HP Pokemon, and that could be mean with damage as well, HP remaining. It could be a fresh 30, 40, 50, 60 HP Pokemon, but it could be the least amount. It's just straight up knocked out. So it's super kind of funny. It's a really funny attack. And then you got a not so bad attack. Water shot for 110 damage, discard energy. It's whatever. It's not a bad attack for 1 energy. It is on a stage 2, so it better be 1 energy for for 110 discard. But this first attack is kind of the focus of it, just kind of bringing down something, no pun intended, that has the lowest HP for essentially free.
Yeah, and it feels like this card was made to work with Frozlass, right? Because like it doesn't have an ability. You're going to be putting damage counters on hopefully just your opponent's Pokemon. You've limited, your Pokemon with abilities in play because you're a smart deck builder. So Frozlass is just chipping away. Maybe you even have.
Can't assume that.
Whoa. All right, Josh. All right, we'll include Josh in that conversation. But we're all good deck builders, and we'll be playing Rough Seas to heal our dudes. And this Inteleon will just be taking KO after KO after KO on our opponent's turn. Maybe we'll Echoing Horn or Target Whistle up a tiny little guy from the discard pile, and kill that again. I mean, who knows? I mean, this card's just kind of cute, kind of funny. Just such a bummer. Again, Josh, you said it earlier too, that it's on a card. Like Inteleon is either the most busted card in Gym Leader Challenge or like top 2 or 3 cards in Gym Leader Challenge. So it's just like you can't not play Shady Dealings, and even like decks that are like, I'd really like the quick shooting Inteleon. You're still just like, yeah, but have you ever gotten just any 2 trainers from your deck that you've ever needed in a turn and attacked for 120 for 2 while also putting 20 damage on a bench Pokemon? I mean, that's 140 to the board plus 2 trainer cards. I mean, like, that's the best thing ever. So, like, it's just, you can't not play that Inteleon. I'm sorry. Stop printing good Inteleons. Just put it on a Psyduck. Give me a Psyduck.
Hey, ban the good Inteleon, and then we have to play other Inteleons.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm not in charge of the format, so I can't do that, Josh.
Ban every card, every top tier card in each type, and see what happens.
We could just have like another really, really fake format where you just play like the second best printing of each card. Like, you can't play
tier
the best
2 format.
Then the Kyogre we talked about is playable. The Inteleon's playable. So many cards are playable.
Yeah, we're gonna have to make a subdivision of GLC.
Gym Loser Challenge.
That was a good point. There it was. You wasted it on that.
My bad.
You only get 1 point a video. All right, here we go. We got Frostmoth, 110 HP, not level ball searchable, but it might bring some life to Water Spread for 1 energy. We have Icy Flittering. This attack does 20 damage to each of your opponent's active Pokemon, and that's not all. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now asleep. Sleepy Poke. So that's pretty cool. What do you think about that?
I mean, this is busted, dude. Like, I've played Colorless Spread, and I have tried to get you to play Colorless Spread so much, Josh. And the Spinda is just maybe like the best basic spreader we have. Not because of its damage output. It's only doing 10 damage, but because it confuses the active. And so now on a stage 1, I mean, you're doing twice as much damage. I mean, twice as much. We got 20 now. But you're getting to put that active to sleep. I mean, it's just like, you could potentially do this over and over and over again. Just get lucky on a couple coin flips and things are looking good. Your opponent's not going to draw Guzma. There's no ability to. So again, Frozlast, we just mentioned that. I think Frozlast stocks are going up. You're going to be spreading, putting damage counters in between turns. Maybe you're playing, there's like a water stadium, like Icy Calamity that like on attachment does damage, like non-water basics or something. Maybe you got Frozen City in your deck. You're going to be finishing off your opponents with the Articuno that takes double prizes, the Delta Plus Articuno. Maybe you want a blindside play. Maybe you're just going to be attacking normally with it. I mean, there's just like so much going on here. And there's a lot of good spreaders too in water. Inteleon's going to be putting 20 damage plus 120 to the active. There's just a lot of cool things that now kind of happen in this archetype because you're able to maybe stall a turn or two that you weren't able to do before. So this Frostmath might be the best card for Water Spread that's been printed ever.
Yeah. It's pretty good. It's pretty great. It's not a bad water spreader whatsoever. I think, and Water Spread is already low maintenance.
Yeah.
So you're not necessarily replacing the Frostmoth with the Frostmoth too much.
Yeah.
It's still it's pretty good.
Yeah. And like there's some
slides right in there.
There's some beefy boys too that can do some spreading damage, right? There's the Cloyster, the Rapid Strike Cloyster that's like 50 and 30 to 2 things for 2 energy. You've got the Cetitan that's like 1 energy is like 30 to the active and then like 10 everywhere else that has like a ton of HP.
Yeah.
So like, and this is 110, which is nothing to scoff at for an early spreader. So you could see kind of an annoying water list start to be brewed. Like,
oh yeah,
like Stalin. I mean, you've got maybe Quick Shooting Inteleon can make an appearance here too after me talking about how it's not playable. But it's fun. I'm going to be really excited to work with this card. But again, the only reason why any of this is even being discussed is the text. Your actives Pokemon is now asleep, right? Like that text is the most important on this card. If that wasn't there, this card would be doo-doo.
Hey, the shitty dealings Inteleon is a good spreader too.
Yeah, definitely for sure.
20.
I mean, and again, it gets you 2 trainers. I mean, like, you can't not play it. It's so good.
It hits 120 for 2, does 20 damage to something on the bench, searches 2 trainers, is 160 HP, stage 2. It's probably one of the best Pokemon cards ever printed.
Yeah. Plus, like, if you're in a spread deck, like, you get access to counter energy, so like that Inteleon's also attacking in that turn potentially, so like it's just so good. Like, you just cannot play that Inteleon. But like this Frosmoth, the thing that gets kind of messy when you look at this, like what at least the idea that like I've been trying to brew in my head with this is like, where does your energy acceleration come from? Because you don't really want to play another stage 2. You don't really want to play Excalibur. You don't really have abilities, right? So the other Frosmoth is out. Can you just rely on like Aqua Patch and the counter cards, maybe a Rapid Strike Energy, Raihan to get you attachments? And then like if you're trying to do something with Articuno, and Articuno costs 3 energy and Blindside costs 3 energy, what does your Blindside play look like? Now, are you needing Attach, Energy, Aqua Patch, or Raihan all in the same turn? So it gets a little bit complicated and convoluted when you get to how does this water spread deck actually finish the game without, the big combo play of being able to attach tons of energy.
Man, you really just you talked yourself up to a peak for this deck, and then you walked straight down.
Hey, that's good deck building. All right, that's right. It's good deck building. All right, you have your idea. You realize there's a problem, but hey, again, good deck building is going to be like, here's my solution, and the solution is Energy, Aqua Patch, Raihan, or Counter Energy, Raihan. Right? You got a solution there. It's just like, how are you going to get there? And so you're going to have to be mapping out your turns. But like I said, with Inteleon, it's pretty easy to map out some turns, especially if you just like Devo it, right, and get to do it again. This deck will let you like, Devo and scoop up net your Inteleon a lot more than the other decks, probably, just because like you're a spread deck, right? You're going to be trying to stall and spread. You don't mind getting behind on prizes. You're not trying to trade one for one. You're trying to stake a whole bunch of prizes on a couple turns. So I think there's room. We'll see. I'm excited about it. I'll definitely be trying to get something together with this.
You could also, well, never mind. I was going to say you could play the non-healing card Stadium, but I was like, no, you'd probably be better off playing something that did like what is that? Frosty Mountains or something like that.
Calamitous
Can't remember.
something.
Calamitous Snowstorm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could play it with that, kind of do 2 damage because you're putting water energy on your guys, but they're not, so you might.
But I think it's only basic water Pokemon.
Oh, is it just basic?
Yeah, I don't know. It's always like that Stadium is always like third choice. But then when I was playing TCG Live, when they had the GLC trainer trials up, there was no Frozen City. So like that was the next best thing. So I was like, all right, cool, we'll throw it in here. It's like Old Cemetery in that card.
Yeah. Hey, there's another little fluffy guy out there that's going to be pretty decent for Lightning. We got Pachirisu, 70 HP, so searchable for Buddy Poffin. It's a basic, and it has these nice little cute attack, tingly incisors for 1 Lightning. It's going to do 10 damage, but during your opponent's next turn, whenever your opponent attaches an energy from their hand to the defending Pokemon, put 8 damage counters onto that Pokemon. So you're essentially doing 90 damage for 1 with this little electric squirrel dude, which is kind of cool. And it might be one of those things where you just have it up in the active and you're just chipping away at something while you're getting your guys on the bench set up. But it also keeps your opponent, they got to put this, they either got to put energy on there and take the 8 damage counters, or they don't. And then you just kind of set them behind in that regard. So it's like you're winning both. It's a win-win, but for you. It's a lose-lose for your opponent, depending.
Definitely a big tempo gain. And this card fits kind of perfectly in a deck that like I was playing quite frequently, like Biting Buddies is the name of the deck, and you have the Minimum and the Plusle, where if you have both of them on the bench, whenever your opponent attaches a card, it's like 2 damage counters. There's an Arctis Volt. I'm butchering that name, but there's that card too. It's a fossil. It's a little bit harder to get into play, obviously, but it does the same thing just by itself. You have a tons of stadiums. There's like Rugged Helmet that, like, whenever a Pokemon is damaged, it like sends an energy back into your hand as a tool card. You've got different supporters that either discard energy, or there's one, I think it's like Team Rocket's Flare. I always get these cards. They're always just kind of like meshed together in my brain. But there's one.
Team Flare Grunt?
Yeah, is that the one that takes an energy and puts on top of the deck?
I think so.
Yeah, so like now you're like, all right, that energy is gone. It's on top of your deck. We know what you're drawing for turn. We know that you have to attach again. All right, so now those 8 damage counters, plus the 2 potentially if I got this set up, plus the 4 potentially if I have this other thing set up. And if I have a stadium in play, that's 6. That's potentially like 140, 150 plus the 10 damage that Pachirisu does here. 150 damage in one turn for just a single attachment. It is the defending Pokemon, though. So again, your opponent can just elect to not attach it to that one. But again, the tempo gained might be worth it in the long run. And this might be the card that Biting Buddies has needed to push it up from super, 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 super meme tier to slightly playable. And that's what all
slightly less meme.
Maybe. I mean, whatever the step above meme tier is, that play it there. The Baisch tier.
Just joking tier. The Baisch tier.
The copium tier. I hope this is good.
Yes, everything belongs there at some point. I hope this is good. And then they immediately go up or they immediately go down.
No, if only. Yeah. If only.
Psychic got a few, decently cool things depending on how you look at it. I mean, it's not the best things. Yeah, Psychic got some things in this set that it truly needed, because Psychic, is a struggling type in the GLC format.
So bad before it got these cards.
We have Kadabra right here. We got the ability Psychic Draw. When you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon during your turn, you may draw 2 cards, and then it has 1 energy for 30. It's just the stage 1 to get to your stage 2, but whenever you evolve it, you get the draw. And then you got Alakazam, 140 HP, has the same ability Psychic Draw. When you play this Pokemon from your hand to one of your Pokemon to evolve, you basically get to draw 3. I mean, you got other ways to do this, which are better. You got Tinkaton, Gather Materials for a discard draw 3. You got Curlia, discard draw 2 on stage 1. You have Gallade, search for whatever supporter that you want. Use it to draw cards if you want or not. But, you got better cards for this type of ability in this. And then Hand Power, put 2 damage counters on your opponent's active Pokemon for each card in your hand. So if you have a big hand in GLC, sometimes that's not so much the case. But depending on how many you have in your hand, whether that be 1 to 10 to however many, you put 2 damage counters on your opponent's active for however many that you do have. It's kind of lackluster, but neat.
Yeah. I mean, it's like we haven't had Alakazam in so long, right? Because we haven't had the Kadabra, right? Like in GLC's existence, we've never been able to play the Alakazam line just because of the whole Young Geller controversy, right? So like we finally get a chance, and like the Kadabra, like going back to it, the Kadabra is not bad. Like you would love this on any stage 1 evolving into a stage 2. It just gets to the point where like the stage 2 is maybe slightly underpowered, and you think about it, it's just because of like hand disruption, right? Like that attack, even though it's 1 energy, put 2 damage counters, and damage counters is kind of nice here. But like, having a large hand, if you think about it, like, again, worst case scenario, you're trying to take down a Wailord, you need 12 cards in hand. Like, how are you getting the 12 cards? And then even beyond that, yeah, Colress, right? You can't put 12 Pokemon in play. You got to play Skyfield. Like, that's ridiculous.
You got a Colress into your Alakazam, evolve it. Then you have what you just discarded. You got 8. You discard, or no, you can get 10.
You get 10.
Discard 9. And then draw 3, 12. There we go.
12. Yeah, you'll be at 12 in that exact situation, which is not unreasonable because you do have
going to happen. Oh, like
Got a
90% of the time.
Of course, of course. What did we talk about? Copium? Where we at? Where we at? But anyway, it's cool. This is the thing. The Cadaver will see play as soon as we get a good Alakazam, and the way that they're printing Alakazams right now, just because it's been away for so long, I would not be surprised if in the next couple sets we see an Alakazam that is truly, truly good that we get to play. And so I would say stock up on these Cadabras, put them away for your rainy day psychic fund.
Yeah, if to your point, yeah, stage 2 Alakazam, if it ever becomes good, that Cadaver will be a really good Cadaver to have, actually.
Yeah.
There's your point. You can have it.
Well,
that was a good point.
I did it.
We got it. We got there. We got routes. We got a decent 70 HP routes. That's actually pretty good, honestly. It's better than a teleportation, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's just select, collect, draw a card for 1 energy. I think it's pretty good. And memory skip, is 60 HP. It's not, it's in range of being sniped by some other cards in the format pretty early on. But it does have a cool attack that you might be able to, make them memory skip that attack that's going to take you out. But that's probably not going to happen as much. But this route is a little bit better. The art's a little bit, nice. Has a nice little draw card. I think it's just better. Probably optimal basic.
Yeah, I think 100% optimal basic. I don't think there's any doubt in my mind. Add to the fact that the collect attack is colorless energy, which means that it is Dimension Valley compatible. Again, just brings it up another level, maybe brings another play. Like, you don't have any energy, put this into the active, draw, maybe you'll get one. So there's that too. So I like this, play it. Memory skip used to be the play back in the day. I will say memory skip having metal resistance is quite nice. It lets it kind of escape like an early Spiritomb attack or something like that. But the new routes back to dark maybe leaves it in danger of some, quick chip attacks from dark. But really, it's just Spiritomb that you're worried about. But, that's it really.
Yep. Optimal basic. And then we have a Xerneas, 120 HP. It's basic. Has a pretty neat little setup attack for 1 Psychic Geogate. Search your deck for up to 3 basic psychic Pokemon, put them onto your bench. So you get to immediately put them on your bench. That's a pretty decent attack. And then Bright Horns, 120 damage. Can't use it the next turn. 2 psychic, 1 colorless. Nice little vanilla attack. But I mean, it only has 1 retreat cost. Has a decent HP. It's not a magic number HP, but sometimes early on they're not going to hit for 120, maybe 90 at the most. But Geogate's pretty good setup. I don't know if this is, you're going to change every psychic list to put this in there, but it's an option.
Yeah. I think for Psychic, recently I've been playing a lot of Psychic. Psychic's the type I really enjoy. And you look at like where things go wrong for Psychic. We haven't really seen Psychic win big stuff. We always talk about it as being like one of the best decks in the format, but like when it comes to winning big events, it's yet to do that really, at least in recent memory. And again, I might be wrong. Someone's going to tell me in the comment section, hey, it won this last week. Okay, cool. All right. But anyway, the setup, that's where Psychic really struggles, is the setup. If you get set up with Psychic, you usually win the game, right? So I think the Geogate is another push towards it. And then if you're a Fairy enjoyer, like this card is a callback to the Fairy Xerneas, right? Bright Horns is the exact same attack. It might be a little bit less damage. I think Bright Horns on the Fairy did 130. And the first attack was just like any supporter. So I don't know what's better, any supporter or getting set up early on. But I like this card. I'm with you, Josh. I just don't know. I just don't know if it's what you want to do. Because we've seen... the free, there's Cleffa, the free draw card. We've seen Smoochum, the free attach card. We've seen Psychic have kind of like these like starters that don't really get you set up, but they can like get you going sort of deal. I wonder if this is the answer, but I just don't know. I'm going to try it out and we're going to see.
Yeah, I mean, it's worth a shot. It's definitely worth a shot because, it's a really good, it's like one of the best call for families you could have.
Yeah.
You know,
And it
three.
turns into an attacker, right? Like that's the thing. Like it's not just worthless. 120 is a reasonable number to hit, so it's a setup card that turns into a reasonable attacker. It diversifies your weakness because again, it's metal. It's only one energy, so it's U-turn board compatible as well, which a lot of these lists are running. There's a lot of upside. It's just like, is that 120 enough? And is the can't use Bright Horns during your next turn too big of a downside?
I think we've got enough cards in the format that already kind of do that, and it's not too much of a detriment sometimes.
It's fair. But I mean, just look at the expansive card pool that Psychic has, though, right? Like, if you're not, Brighthorn's 120, you could be, Iron Bouldering twice in a row for 170, like at this rate, So it's just like, again, almost in any other type, we'd be like, that's pretty good. That's pretty cool. But it's just like Psychic's got so many options that it's just like this card is mid. It's one amongst the millions.
Yeah, and I mean, Josie's been around for a long time now, and we used to say, "Oh, the format hasn't been solved." It's nowhere near completely solved, but it's pretty decently to a point. But there's so much experimentation that you can do, and so many different combinations that you can do. It's not going to be 100% there. We just know that right now, when new cards come into the format, that there are cards that are better, until maybe this combination of this old and this new that we never even thought about will happen, but we'll see.
Yep. Ooh, also good to note.
Just a good setup.
You can grab this off of Clavel.
Oh, yeah. Clavel, 120 HP basics.
Yeah. But if you're Claveling, you might not need a Geogate. I don't know. All right. Anyway, moving on.
You're going 5 wide that first turn, bro.
Hey, parallel me, bro. See what happens.
Hey, we got another Tyrogue in the format. Tyrogue is pretty cool. I always enjoyed this card back in the day, or this Pokemon back in the day. It was really cool. But this specific one right here, we got another baby Pokemon, free retreat, free attack. We got Bam Bam Smash for 10 plus damage. And you get to flip a coin until you get tails. This deck does 30 more damage for each heads. Now, I don't know if you've ever played Pokemon Pocket, Jeff, which I'm pretty sure you have. And there was, I don't know if you're around during the Misty format or the Celebi format, where
that's all I played.
They would go ham. Yeah, they would go absolutely ham on flipping heads for days. So imagine a world where Tyrogue flips heads for days and just takes out 150 HP Pokemon basic on the first turn going second for free.
I mean, like, you say that, but like, fighting has the most weakness in the format, right? Lightning, colorless, dark, right? All have fighting weakness. I mean, adversely, flying exists in all the types, so it does also have the most resistance, maybe. But like, one heads, right? You're doing 40 damage. That's 80, right? Poor little Squovit got stranded in the active on turn 1. It gone. All right? You're looking at your opponent's Blitzel. It gone with just one heads. So like, I think that this Blitzel is actually kind of like interesting in that regard, because you do get to play that kind of rock, paper, scissors with your opponents and being like, are you playing one of those 3 semi-popular types? Well, I got you maybe on turn 1, so you better bench something else. And you better bench something into my Hitmonbros spread deck. Like, there's so many things that you can do. It's just kind of cool and interesting. And again, free retreat here, call back to this other Tyrogue with the Bratty Kick. I think it's just maybe a little bit of an upgrade, but that Bratty Kick, man, from the other Tyrogue comes into play more than you think, right? Like, hitting into a bench barrier with 2 heads sometimes, like, gets your Hitmon's deck going. Sometimes that 30 is just enough to take the last KO to win a game. So I don't want to sweat that last Tyrogue. It's good too. But this new one just opens up a couple different interesting ideas and things that you can do And then the art's kind of cool. I don't know, like, what's he doing? Is he in like a fan factory or something? He's got some like
Dude, he's in
AC
an alley.
units. Yeah.
I think he's in an alley somewhere, tending to his plant like Mr. Miyagi on Karate Kid.
All right. Go Tyrogue, plant type.
I know his favorite movie is Karate Kid. 100% plant type Tyrogue. Yeah, I like this new Tyrogue a lot. If you're going to play a coin flip one, you got Brody Cack for coin flip. You got this one. I think I might play Bam Bam Smash just so I can announce that attack and then hit for 160.
I hope that's the actual name.
Going first.
Sometimes these translations don't quite make it. What was Okie Doki's attack for forever? It was like something ridiculous, or maybe it was what it was. I can't. It would be like Good Boy Punch or something. That might be his actual.
It was probably
attack.
Good Boy Punch or something like that.
There's sometimes these names just are fun.
I know it. Next up, we got Hariyama. Hariyama is a stage 150 HP, and it has a boss on its ability, basically. So, what boss does is what Hariyama's ability Sumo Catcher does, which is pretty cool. A free boss on a Pokemon, and it's, a decent HP of 150, and then it does Wild Press 210 damage. This Pokemon does 70 damage to itself for 3 fighting. It's not the best, It's kind of like Snorlax, but worse because the new Hop Snorlax, because it doesn't have a tool that lets it hit for less energy to make it easier to get energy on there. With fighting, sometimes it's kind of already hard to put energy onto this Pokemon. But it does also 70 damage to itself. You might be able to play this with Garganacl if it can make it through that next turn where you kind of heal up a little bit, but maybe not. Maybe you play this just for the ability and the off chance that you might use it for an attacker later. So there's all sorts of different things that you can do with this. But it's always cool when you see a boss on a Pokemon's ability.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. Fighting obviously has issues finding the cards that it needs in certain moments just because of the lack of support it's had, at least maybe until a little bit from now. So having a supporter on a easily searchable Pokemon is kind of nice. And then add to that, they're like, hey, you know what card exists that no one ever remembers? There's a Claydol that's a Dynamotor that if you don't have any supporters in your discard pile, you can attach energy, right? So now you don't need boss's orders in your deck. You can play this instead and kind of like maneuver yourself in a position where maybe you don't need as many supporters in your deck to make that Claydol work. And so that's kind of where my brain was at with this. Obviously, the 3 energy can be a bit steep when you're not running energy accelerants, but I think that makes me want to brew with that Claydol again, just to give this card kind of a chance.
Interesting.
You know what I'm talking about, Josh? You know that card.
I know that card.
No supporter finds making a comeback, and it starts with this card.
Hey, I mean, I guess you could play a low amount like Lost Zone does. They play like 5 or something like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you get to play Grant, right? Like, which returns itself to your hand, right?
Yeah.
Alpad, VS Seeker, and there's not like too many that you need to really play beyond that. Maybe you play like Maxis, which is kind of hilarious. You could play like the Stadium that draws you cards. We're going to have the new cards that we're going to talk about in a second. Like, I think if there's ever been a time for Claydol no supporter fighting to make a play into the format. Now, I'm not saying be good, but if it's ever going to be playable, now feels like a moment in time.
Okay, I get what you.
Yeah.
I get you now. Yeah.
I wish we were more popular, because if we were more popular right now, we should all be buying up these Claydols. Because people are listening to me, they're like, "This guy's cooking." I know I am.
$8 Claydolls. $8 Claydolls.
So if all the Claydolls are gone, it's because Josh hopped on TCG Player, bought them all.
Buy out on Claydolls, dude. Oh yeah, give me those Claydolls. Speaking of, here is the Pokemon itself that is going to be giving us all these possible plays for fighting to move up several tier lists. And here's why. It has the ability Lunar Cycle. Once during your turn, if you have a Soul Rock in play, you may discard a basic fighting energy card from your hand in order to use this ability. draw 3 cards. Fighting finally has some draw power on a Pokemon to put on to the bench, which is fantastic for fighting. I think we've all been waiting for this to actually happen someday. We didn't imagine it to having the clause of having a whole nother Pokemon on the bench in order to use, but we have it. So now that we have it, hopefully, we can do some things with it. And with fighting doesn't have a whole lot of bench space that it's taken up anyways, so it might not be too bad. But I just know that when it comes to my own confirmation bias, and I am using, let's say, Reverum to discard an energy, draw up to 6, a lot of the time I'm like, man, I wish I had an energy in my hand. And I'm wondering how many times this is going to happen with Solrock.
Yeah, I mean, it's super conditional, right? Like that's what it's all about. And you're mentioning the fighting energy. Well, hey, you have to have a Luna or Solrock in play. So like all of a sudden you got to have these 2 big HP basics, and like you can't just buddy pop in them, right? You can't like Arvin and go get both of them unless it's your first turn and you can go get Battle VIP Pass. Now you got to put Battle VIP Pass in your fighting deck too, which is, again, it's going to lower the consistency to some degree while raising the power level. But it's just like there's a lot of things that have to go right, namely having fighting energy. And then you look at like what fighting's best cards are doing right now. And obviously, like the Hitmon combo, you don't need that much bench space. But like once the combo stops working, you do kind of want to get some backup attackers down. And they've been evolution heavy, although Okidogi has propped up. And so now also Okidogi's in the mix. And now you're running a lot more special energies in your deck as opposed to basic fighting energies, which this Lunatone needs. And so there's a lot of like, tension here between what this card wants you to do and what fighting wants to do best. And so will we all play it? Of course, because like it's just one fighting energy. We'll find it some way. Just drawing 3 at one point in the game is better than what we've ever had to do before. But it's not going to be just like the solution I think we all think it does. And at the same time, everyone hear me out. Silent Lab stocks are going up, right? Not only are you now stopping, this Lunatone from drawing cards with Silent Lab, you're also stopping Okidogi to a certain degree. So like if we're worried about fighting, it's just like play that Silent Lab and you're kind of able to kind of do both in one turn. Hopefully it sticks. Obviously it can always go, but Silent Lab does seem very well positioned right now in the format.
Yeah, and I mean, you're most likely, a lot of the time when you're playing Okidogi, you're playing Hitmondogi, and you're just playing the Hitmon combo and already playing with that Silent Lab. So you kind of already know how to play around that to a point, but you can't necessarily bump Silent Lab with Silent Lab, so you might have to even fit in more stadiums at that point to be able to bump the Silent Labs that might creep up in response to this, however this combo does specifically.
Yeah. You know what lists we really haven't talked about right now, but I think that this is like the perfect home for it, is just like a Ting Lu fighting spread deck, right? Like those lists aren't running Okidogi so much. They're running tons of fighting energy because they're playing the Blood Moon Ursaluna, which has to charge itself up. I just see that those lists, obviously they need tons of stadiums, right? For like training court, to get back those energies too. So I just see that kind of being like the natural home, and maybe like maybe a surprise contender for the fighting list that performs best going forward.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think so, because Ting Lu, gets rid of that Silent Lab. So it wouldn't interrupt it too much, and it'll just interrupt it during that time, puts the damage, and then it discards. So yeah, I think that'll go good in that list.
Ooh, that's like speaking 2 of points I've had today.
I know. Yeah, how many points you gonna have?
Dang, man.
We got Solrock. This Solrock actually isn't a terrible Solrock. Actually, it's 110 Cosmo Beam for 1 energy, 70 damage. If you don't have the Lunatone, it does nothing. But I mean, that's almost you see how many knockouts that Fanro Tom can get with a 70 attack for 1. Soul Rock having this 70 damage for 1 is also has a lot of good potential as well.
Yeah. I mean, and that's a powerful attack, and then you add to it, like, it can be a really good, like, clean upper too, right? Like, obviously, Ting Lu has maybe spread some damage in there. Maybe the Hitmonbro combo is fired off, and you've put 60 damage counters everywhere, and this Soul Rock can come and just mop up a big dude as well. The issue becomes, once you put this in the active, right? You're taking the KO. Maybe you've drawn 3 cards, but you are going to maybe lose it on the comeback. And now your draw engine's offline. So there is a real downside of putting this into the danger zone. Obviously, it can always be gusted up or whatever the deal might be. But them being able to KO this does set you back a bit unless you have a recovery card ready to go. So I see that kind of being like a drawback. There's a couple of other Soul Rocks that are obviously just bench sitters. There's like a Soul Rock that just like turns off resistance, I think, which is like one I've always kind of viewed just because the psychic matchup is like so, pins and hairs. Like, you're always like, can I get that extra 30 damage in there? So taking away resistance would matter. But I do like this one. I think this is the Soul Rock that I would be playing. I would just be very conscious about your opponent's chances of the return KO. If you're not donking, maybe just another turn of setup is better. And so it's going to take some nuance. It's going to take, obviously, some testing to figure out exactly when the right moment to Soul Rock is. But I do like this card a lot.
Yeah, I'm excited for the combo. We'll see how it goes. Just my only concern with it is, it's not going to be too hard to get going, but prizing can mess up. Not having fighting energy can mess up. There's just so many things there's more things that can go wrong having to have the stipulation of having both of them out and an energy that it might not be as easy to get going as we think.
Yeah, for sure. We didn't even mention prizing, right? One of them's prized. You're cooked.
You're cooking or being cooked.
Yeah, which is better than what fighting had before.
And then we got the Spirit Tomb, 80 HP, 1 retreat. Has the ability Resentful Maelstrom. When your active dark Pokemon is damaged by an attack from your opponent's Pokemon, put 1 damage counter on the attacking Pokemon. So it doesn't matter what Pokemon it is. If it's an active and it's getting damaged by your opponent's Pokemon, that opponent's Pokemon active is taking 1 damage counter, which is kind of neat. It's kind of neat.
Yeah. I mean, like, Dark Spread. I know Dark Spread's kind of been a deck that's been floating around here and there. And it's a deck I really, really enjoy playing. And, you're playing things like Frozen City already, maybe even Old Cemetery. And those cards get bumped all the time, right? So now you kind of have like a version that's going to stick, right? Like, your opponent's probably not going to gust up this Spirit Tomb, right? There's going to be other options. This is kind of just like an annoyance, right? But like, those spread decks don't really take up much bench space anyway. So like, having this in your deck, I think, is kind of just like good. So like, I think this is going to see play in a lot of different decks. The fact that, especially the spread dark deck, and then add to the top of that, it's got a mill attack. Like, obviously, dark control might become a thing, or dark stall, dark mill, whatever the deal might be. So just having an extra card that does a little bit more is kind of neat. And then 3 prize Crobat. Also, you're softening up some of your opponent's Pokemon, and all of a sudden you can pop up there with 3 prize Crobat, use Critical Bite, do 30 damage to it, and take a KO after it's been damaged by a Resentful Maelstrom. So I think this card is cool. I'm going to play it.
Hey, did you hear what you said a second ago?
No, what did I say?
You said mill,
then
you said deal.
Mill
deal.
Mm-hmm.
That's a perfect name for a deck.
Yeah, and now I want a dill pickle.
Okay. That was good stuff, man. That was a mill deal. Give me that barbecue sandwich and that dill pickle. All right, we got Tinka Tough for metal, which is kind of cool. Has the ability, basically has a crushing hammer on I almost said on summon. I've been playing a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh lately.
Get that out of here.
Whenever you evolve it, you basically get to use a crushing hammer for free. So that's kind of cool. And then it has an attack for 1 energy. I think it's 1 metal for 30 damage, which is kind of cool. So all this leading up to Tinkaton, which has 160 HP, stage 2, obviously, but you can play this in your metal deck now. Tinkaton is a metal type as well. I don't know if you knew that, but now you know. Has the attack for 1 energy, 1 metal energy, large swing, 240 minus damage. This attack does 60 less damage for each energy attached to your opponent's Pokemon. We've seen this in plenty of attacks before. I think there's a Regidrago with this attack, and then several other Pokemon. But, it's Tinkaton. You can play it in metal now. So you might try to make it work. And the ways we can do that is, obviously, you have your stage 1 that has the Crushing Hammer ability, but you can also just play Crushing Hammer, Enhanced Hammer, Faba. Dangerous Drill, I believe, has like a coin flip special energy discard as well, and various other different ways to get rid of energy, like that Team Flare Grunt, Guacamo, and there's all these different ways. Now, then you're just kind of muddling your deck with all of these different ways to get rid of energy for this Tinkaton with 160 HP. So you might not go ham on it, but it might be a good way to just take out big knockouts. Let's say your opponent is building up a Wailord. We're going to try to get to it really quickly before it has more energy on there. So maybe early on, as an early attack, gust around it, hit something that's being built up on the bench. So you're just going to have to be a little bit more strategic with it. But, here's your opportunity to also play Tinkaton in a metal deck.
Yeah. And I think maybe Tinkaton's biggest thing working against it the most is when you look at kind of like the top performing decks of the moment, you're seeing Hydro Pump Water, you're seeing Psychic that has the ability to attach from the discard or from hand, and potentially getting 3 energy in play per turn. And then you look at Drago Box, which has all those tools that it can to get energy in play. And so you're thinking, hey, when is this stage 2 going to come down on an empty board without any energy being attached? Probably not super often. And I think, if something has 1 energy attached, 180 is still is like a decent amount. But once you have 2 energy on something, 120 is a number that's going to be missing quite often. And I think that's what's really working against this Tinkaton to make it that card. So it's fun. It's cool. It's got synergies that you can be doing. I love the stage 1 and the stage 2. It's kind of a bummer that the Tinkaton doesn't have the ability, because if the Tinkaton had the ability plus the attack, it would be much better if you could instantly remove the energy and attack, right? But now that you've given them another chance to attach an energy, it obviously makes it a little bit worse. So it's a cool card. I like where it's at. I don't know, Josh. I just don't see where it fits in at the moment.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that would have been really cool if it had the ability as well on there. Just another energy removal. Man, why'd you bring that up?
Hey, man,
sorry. Now I've got a bad taste in my mouth.
Come on, creatures, make it right.
On to the trainers. This is sometimes the most exciting part of new set drops, and boy howdy, we got a lot in this set. A lot of different, specifically for 2 typings in this set. So we got some big things. So
I'll say 3.
Starting off,
I'm gonna say 3 typings, Josh.
3 typings. Oh yeah, water as well.
Oh no, I mean now 4.
No?
Now not even 4. I think the entire GLC format got a power, but there's
a 4
type specific cards in here that are kind of busted.
Yeah, I mean all of GLC. This is one of those sets that kind of elevate all GLC decks at the same time, as well as a few ones that really got the fixins. But we got Fighting Gong. Search your deck for a basic fighting Pokemon or a basic fire energy card, reveal it and put it into your hand and shuffle your deck. I think this is really cool. I think this is, I think we have that magma ball search card or whatever. I think this will slot in for that. We don't have to play that. We can play this card that's a little bit more. It kind of reminds me of a fog crystal. I think it might be a fog crystal, but for fighting, which is really good. So you can look for a basic fighting Pokemon, and yeah, I think it's a good card, and I like the art. It's really comic-y.
Yeah, I like it too. And Fighting Gong's the perfect name for this. What's the fog crystal? The fact that the psychic one is like a crystal ball and this has a fighting gong, like it's on point. Flavor text is real, guys. But anyway, this card, and you mentioned that maybe this replaces Team Magma's ball, and I just don't know if that's the case, because like you really want Ball Guy in those decks, because you really want Hisuian Heavy Ball for those important basics, right? You want to get your Okidogi out of the prizes. You want to get your Hitmon combo out of the prizes. So you want to get your Soul Rocker Lunatone out. And so the fact that Ball Guy kind of becomes like a pseudo Karina when you have Team Magma Ball in your deck makes you think you still want that card. But obviously I think you also want Fighting Gong as well. So I'm keeping Team Magma Ball in my deck as long as I have Ball Guy and Hisuian Heavy Ball in that deck as well. But I'm going to add Fighting Gong in there somewhere. I haven't quite found the cut, but this card is too busted not to play in every single fighting list. So get your Fighting Gongs. It good.
Yeah. Yeah, hey, let me know whenever you cut Team Magma's ball for Fighting Gong.
It's not going to happen, dude. I'm going to play both. You know what? And hear me out, Josh. And everyone knows, so that everyone knows how serious I am about this. I would cut Ninja Boy first before I cut Team Magma's Great Ball or Fighting Gong.
You can't do that.
It's just right. It's just right. Trust me.
Something bad might be happening if you do that. The world might crack in half. Hey, next up we got Premium Power Pro. During this turn, attacks used by your fighting Pokemon do 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. What is that? What is that thing for lightning? It's the same thing. It's like a
power up. Now that you said it, I can't remember it, but there's one in lightning too, right?
Yeah, there's one in lightning. In standard format, Fusion Strike Pokemon had it with like tablets, fusion tablets or power tablets or whatever, hit for 30 to your active, which is really cool. This is a cool card. I like it. It's not bad, but like Jeff's already finding problems trying to find a cut for a really good card, Fighting Gong. And where's he going to fit Premium Power Pro? Where's he going to fit his Muscle Milk at?
It's going to come on the list, dude. And like, first off, Premium Power Pro, like there's definitely cottage cheese in that, right? Like it's doing 30 extra damage. This is Gym Bro juice to the max. It's cottage cheese, it's creatine, it's all the good stuff. But yeah, 30 extra damage,
cottage cheese.
Dude, come on, man. People be putting cottage cheese in everything, right? Like I don't know. Like my entire reels these days are just people making dishes with cottage cheese. This Premium Power Pro makes me think, is got some cottage cheese in there. But
muscle cheese,
my friend. Rename the scarf right now. Someone call TPCI. Let them know. But fighting again. We talked about it. It has the most weakness in the format, right? There's all the types have weaknesses against it. Now you're playing Premium Power Pro in your deck to do 30 more damage on like some dinky basic attack. So I feel like the chance for fighting to just donk has gone up exponentially. Like before, we already had Strong Energy and Muscle Band off of, plus the dojo, right? Like all of that together could have been gotten off one Guzman Hala, right? So now Arvin turns this into, Muscle Band plus this item to do 50 more damage plus whatever the other attack is. No basics are safe, especially with fighting weakness in the format with Premium Power Pro around. So, I think like I wish we track statistics in some way. I would love to see what fighting's first turn win rate looks like after this card is introduced and put into the format.
Dude, you got me shaking in my boots now.
Dude, your Basculin is cooked, man. or Vulpix or whatever you're playing in your Wales list.
My
Right?
Vulpix, no. Dude,
Dude,
I'm excited to get back into my fighting stuff though. I like because I got like a Ting Lu Hitmon combo list that I've had for like years now since Ting Lu came out. I just slotted in something for it.
it's about to be good. It's about to be real good. It's about to hit
It's
real hard.
it's about to get real.
Dude,
Hey,
it's scary.
so we talked about this on one of our other podcasts about whether or not if a tree fell in the lush forest, would it make a sound? And what was your answer to that?
Well, I can't remember my answer then, but the answer is no, because it's no longer lush forest. It's a forest of vitality, my friend.
I know. Forest of vitality, man. Well, anyways, we got this amazing stadium for grass. And it might look familiar. You know, we had forced jump plants, which you could use on your first turn. There's a little stipulation on here. You can't evolve Pokemon during your first turn. So it kind of takes that away. But each player's grass Pokemon can evolve into another grass Pokemon during the turn they play those Pokemon. So if you have your basic, you can essentially get it to its stage 2 form decently quickly with this stadium. It's really good. It's a good stadium, and I'm not sure how long it'll be in the format, if it'll ever be banned or whether or not it'll be around for a while. I'm sure it'll be around for a little bit just to kind of see what happens with it. It's not as bad as Amazing Rare Raikou or the Duskull. I don't think it's going to be near as bad as what those were. Those were like pre-bans, but this Force of Vitality is going to be really cool for grass decks to kind of play around with. And I know that Jeff is a big fan of his grass deck. I'm a big fan of my grass spread deck, and I'm definitely slotting in this just like Jeff is going to slot that into his.
Yeah. I mean, first off, like the other Meganium I used to love is like just unplayable at this point, which is a little sad, but we did get a new Meganium simultaneously, so that's nice. So I can still keep playing my girl. But this is just great, I think. Like, I know people are a little bit worried, you know, they saw what Force of Giant Plants did, but we're at a point in Gym Leader Challenge where just like evolutions kind of suck, right? It's just been difficult to get your evolution-based decks to work. And so giving them a buff just seems ideal, right? Like we've all seen Snorlaxes and the Raging Bolts and the Iron Boulders. Like these are cards that are kind of defining this moment in Gym Leader Challenge. And so like, hey, like bring back Torterra, because Torterra was a card that definitely defined the format at one point. But as it just became more difficult to, you know, keep your decks consistent while playing evolutions, and people found answers, you know, between parallel or, you know, early snipe attacks and all these different things, you know, evolutions just kind of fell back, and, you know, add, you know, ability lock into the mix, and grass has just not felt as good as it once was. And here comes Force of Vitality. I don't think it fixes all the problems. I don't think it's going to be as powerful as people can think. I think people maybe forget that grass still had pop-off potential when it came to like Roserade, into rare candies, into like all this Pokemon search that the deck had. So like the pop-off will still be there, and it'll maybe be a little bit more likely to pop off than it used to in the past. But I'm excited for what grass has, you know, in store. And when you look at like enablers for this too, right? Like grass really can't afford to run special energies. It's like Guzman Hall is really off the table for these grass decks. People might try to shove them in there, but like they don't work with Rillaboom, they don't work with Meganium. So like what you view as like the stock deck isn't going to want that extra stadium search. And then Colress's Tenacity brings with it a whole slew of problems too, you know, because you really want to keep that energy in your deck, and then for the Rillaboom, and then you really want to not have Colress Tenacity in your discard pile either. You don't really want to have to play Shaman in these decks because you want more evolutions on your bench, or you want basic attackers on your bench. So it's just going to be interesting to see what impact Forest of Vitality actually has versus kind of what's our perceived fear of it. And I think, to be honest, I think we're all going to be happy that this card exists in the format and that grass is a player in what we're doing. Egg Mill might need something to happen to it. I can't really imagine, like dealing with execute and like having all your supporters turned off and then just having, the executor, right? Then the execute pops back to hand, and then they just have to have Night Stretcher, and all of a sudden it's back the next turn. I can see that being a little bit of an issue, not something I want to play against very often. But I think for a stock grass list, this card will be mostly fine.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what waves it makes in GLC.
Make evolutions playable. Woo!
Yeah, exactly. All my grass spread has that, that solar evolution skip loom, so it's already skipping already. But at least I'll be able to get into my Beautifly faster, get into Groddle faster. So
yeah,
there's some cool potential for that.
Yeah, and really it's the recovery, right, that's going to make this better. It's not necessarily like the pop-off too, because like pop-off potential is great. But like, oh, your Torterra's down. Well, hey, I just play Lana's Aid, right? It's back. I get the entire line. Boom, 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 boom. Up to stage 2. Find a way to accelerate the energy, whether that's with a Pokemon or whether that's with, maybe even counter energy or something like that. Torterra could be back attacking the next turn. So, like, that's where Forest of Vitality is really going to show its strength. Grass isn't going to crumble like it used to. It used to just crumble once its, key ability Pokemon fell to the wayside. And now there's like a legit chance of those coming back into play, being available the next turn to keep chaining attackers. So again, it's gonna make good gameplay. I wouldn't be scared. And here I'm gonna maybe eat my own words, Josh. In 2 weeks, if we're sitting here being like grass is busted, so I will say that there is that possibility too.
Yeah, we got the full grip 6K now, I believe, or it's 6K, but I think 3K Gym Leader Challenge tournament coming up on release weekend with that. So I'm excited to see what decks come out on top, because we do have a lot of strong contenders. Some new, that maybe even contend the top decks and what they're able to do. So I'm excited to see. Hopefully there's not too much new toy syndrome. I'd like to see how well Colorless does going into the new fighting stuff. But let's go ahead and move on to our next trainer. I know. We got Iron Defender. Basically, we have this for metal during your opponent's next turn. All of your metal Pokemon take 30 less damage from your attacks from your opponent's Pokemon. So this is really cool.
Yeah.
It's just another way to reduce damage for metal Pokemon, and they have a ton of that. But this is not a tool, it's an item card, and it covers all your bases.
Yeah. I think it's a little bit superfluous. Like, that's kind of the issue, right? Whereas like the fighting one that does 30 more is like, oh, we never had that before. But like Metal's had this forever. It's got it in a stadium. So like now maybe you don't have to play the stadium. You can play the item instead. But like the stadium is kind of like reusable because most metal decks are playing Lusamine anyway, so you could get that back plus Mount Coronet. So then you got all the tools that reduce damage, and then you got the ability on Zamazenta. So it's like, how tanky do you want to be? And then even after
you're taking 90 less damage,
dude, even after taking 90 less damage, like still there's just like Wailord is the better tanky deck than you are, right? Like Wailord's just like ha. You're doing all that.
Hey, with Metal Core, you're taking 130 less damage.
I'm going to guess around that, and we'll deal with that thing. This is kind of hilarious, though, right? Like, I mean, not that Metal has ever had any issues with spread, right? But you're just like, oh, you're playing a spread deck? Here you go. And just like one turn of denying spread is like kind of GG. So, if you want to make your spread opponent scoop, play Iron Defender. Unless they're playing Psychic Spread and can do damage counters.
One of the worst matchups is to play Grass Spread into Metal. It's like it's not. They don't even have to have taking less damage. They're already resistant to grass. A lot of them.
I think Grass Spread might just not have any good matchups, though, Josh.
Hey, I've won tournaments with it.
Sure. I believe you. Josh is playing with like
next
his
up.
dog and his cat. He's like, I won. Give me my badge.
I won, guys. We got Lily's Determination. Really good new supporter to GLC. Shuffle your deck into your hand, then draw 6 cards. We already have that in Cynthia. But if you have 6 prize cards remaining, draw 8 cards instead. So super helpful, extremely helpful. And even if you're not drawing 8, you're still drawing 6, and it's still Cynthia. I will not be replacing my Cynthia with this card. I'll just play them both simultaneously if I want to, but mainly because I've got the full art Cynthia, and that was a lot.
Yeah, you're obligated to play that card. You're but yeah, like you said, this card's great. It's the anti-Colress, right? We've all been there. We're putting Colress in our deck. Colress has, the upside of like, I could draw 10 at any point in the game. But then like you got Colress. It's your only supporter in your opening hand. You're struggling to find that second bench Pokemon, and you're forced to Colress for 2, 3, the 4 cards. And you're like, this is awful. And so Lily's is just like, hey, you know what? You're struggling at the beginning of a game. Here's 8. You can have 8 cards. It's just better. And that's what we love about Lily's Determination. Colress is a card of the past. There's just no way you continue to play OG Colress over this card unless you've invested in the full art and you really want to play it. And then like now you have interesting choice. Josh, you mentioned you're going to keep playing Cynthia. I know a lot of combo-oriented decks don't really want to deal with discard, but sometimes they're forced to play Research. Well, hey, now maybe you're playing Cynthia and this over Research, and maybe that's your cut. Or maybe Cynthia becomes your cut because you're looking for a little bit more power in the draw department, and Research is that second draw card you want to have. So this just gives us more options, and I love that. And then I love that Kira, which is kind of just like a feels bad card anyway, is just getting worse because we won't be playing Colress anymore no matter what.
Yep. I'm excited to have this come out. I think it's going to be a good card. I'm excited to see. This is one of those cards that's going to level up pretty much GOC as a whole.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool to see this card come out. It's super helpful.
Yeah, and it has like 3 different printings, right? It has like the IR, the full art, and it has the basic art. So like, get it at any level. This is going to be probably a staple for a while. I don't see the, drawing up to 8 being power crept too soon. So like if you're like, should I invest in the fancy version? I think this card is definitely going to be there for a
we saw how long Cynthia lasted.
Yeah.
It lasted forever.
It still is.
It was a while. Yeah. It lasted a while before that was power crept. I think at least, 8 years.
Yeah, there you go.
So, I enjoy this card though. However,
this might be our favorite card collectively.
Yeah, I think it's both of our favorite card. Lieutenant Surge's Dealings. Ask your opponent if both players may draw a prize card. If yes, both players draw a prize card. If no, you get to draw 4 cards. Which, is there a downside to this, Jeff? I don't think so. I think that if you get to draw a prize card, yay. You can pair this with Town Map, unless if there's a translation thing. It doesn't say face down prize card. You just get to pick a prize card, and there you go. And maybe you play Town Map, or maybe you play Peonia, and then you play Town Map later. Or I can't remember the combo, but maybe you put some things into your prizes that you might be able to utilize with Lieutenant Surge's Dealings by maybe getting, a Chansey up and maybe taking an extra prize card with that, or maybe Love Ball, I believe, or just some different cards that you can kind of combo with that. Now you have a little bit more of an access of like, or giving your opponent an ultimatum like, hey, can I get a prize? But if you don't let me, I get to just draw 4 cards. And 4 cards isn't terrible. We've seen 3 cards with other things attached to it. But we rarely see draw 4. And I think this is just kind of a fun card that you could possibly slot this into any deck and just have a little bit of fun with it. And they're not really have a huge downside. I mean, you get to draw a prize or draw 4.
Yeah. I mean, I am appalled, Josh, that you forgot about our boy Kofu. I mean, draw 4 off of Kofu. Superpower. Now, just imagine if Kofu was a good card. Here it is.
I forgot Kofu came out.
I know. Most people did. Most people did. There was one magical week where Alex Carpenter at Full Grip Games won like everything with Kofu in his deck. I think it might have been like back-to-back weeks, or it might have been like 1 week and then a week off.
Is anybody still on the Kofu train?
There's some decks still playing Kofu, right? I think that like it's mostly just like gone down to like fossil decks and then some lightning decks. But Kofu's still a card I like, but obviously not the most powerful card. We'll just be honest about it. But again, if Kofu was good, it would be this card. You know, Josh mentioned a lot of the upside to it. One of the cool things too is just like we've got so many, you know, prize conditional attacks in the format, right? Hey, if you have, you know, 3 prize cards remaining, do this. You know, if your opponent has 3 prize cards remaining, do that. You know, there's the Cartana that does, you know, 120 if you're exactly at 4 prizes, or if your opponent's at 4 prizes. I can't remember. So like, if you're playing those decks, like just play Lieutenant Surge's Dealings, and all of a sudden you can maybe like cheese out an early attack. Like just imagine getting to Blacephalon a turn earlier, right? Because there's already like prize manipulation psychic decks as it is. Well, hey, just throw Lieutenant Surge's Dealings into those decks, make your opponent kind of make a tough decision. And every time you give your opponent a decision, you're giving them an opportunity to mess up, right? Like they might pick wrong, but really like you can't lose here. You know, you either get closer to winning the game or you draw 4 cards. So I really like this card for those reasons. Like I said, if you're playing against a psychic deck, make sure you're aware of when they can get to that 3 prize turn, because Blacephalon might be on the comeback.
Yeah. There's all sorts of different little things that you can do with that card to kind of be a little bit sneaky with what you're doing.
Agreed.
Next up, we got another card for Psychic, another type that's been struggling in the format lately.
It's down bad.
We got Mystery Garden. It's going to be a stadium. Once during each player's turn, that player may discard a 1 energy card from their hand. If they do, that player draws until they have as many cards in their hand as they do have Psychic Pokemon in play. So they have a draw up to, and this could be a draw up to 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It might, you know, honestly, Psychic probably could care less about this, but it might be a decent card include as well. They have really good stadiums that they're playing right now. You can play Parallel City, you can play Dimension Valley, you got all these different fun stadiums to play, and you got Mystery Garden. But do you really need that draw power when you have Alakazam? Whenever when you have different cards like Curlio, when you have Tinkaton, when you have Gallade, just some of those cards right there are a lot of the time enough to get you to that point. Maybe this would be a better card for mid to late game whenever you have maybe got your Tinkaton knocked out. Maybe Curly is not online anymore because Gallade's online. You have some things to think about, but you know, it's definitely going to see some play, but how much play will it see? It might be preferential.
Dude, I think this card is absolutely busted bonkers. Like, I could not imagine not playing this card. Like, we're seeing Psychic decks already playing Lusamine with Dust Dimension Valley as targets. And now you've thrown in a second busted stadium. And like, dude, this is just basically Salazzle, right? Fire's best draw card on a stadium. And then you've got Malamar in your deck. So you're discarding the energy and then you're just attaching it. Like, then you've got Tulip. Like, you have ability just to get 4 energy back from your discard pile because they gave you a type-specific recovery card like Nessa, but except in Psychic. Like, I just don't see a world where you don't play Mystery Garden. And then, like, you're going to be kind of stacking your bench anyway, right? Because you're going to have Malamar, you're going to have Gallade, and you're hoping that those 2 are there for a while. You might be playing Xatu. There's 3 spots on your bench that you hope are there. You're hoping to have an attacker and a backup attacker, And even if like you get paralleled, you could just drop this down, and then all of a sudden you're drawing 4, right? Because it's each in play. It's not just bench. So like this card just feels insane to me. And the fact that it got printed into Psychic is just appalling. Like it's just, oh man, I don't even know how else to describe it. But like I see people, and Josh, I kind of heard it in your voice too, kind of like underselling this card, and maybe I'm overselling this card a little bit too. But like, man, this just feels like a better stadium, in my opinion, than Forest of Vitality. Like, and again, that might be a bad take, but that's just where my brain is at with this. I just don't think that people see how powerful a card like this
It's a
can
hot
be.
take.
I don't think it's that much of a hot take though. Like when you think about where Psychic struggles when Kirlia goes down. This is essentially Kirlia, right? Like this is just a backup Kirlia. So like giving them an extra out to like that same draw power potential, but without needing to evolve it, just being able to play it immediately, just is crazy. Like it sets up so much too. And then we're gonna see like a Psychic patch get printed in the next set too. So now discarding the energy doesn't even matter. Like it's just like this card. Why? It's so good, and it's in such a good type, and it's in a type that wants it, dude. If this was in Lightning, just imagine if this was in Lightning for 1 second. It's absolutely busted, right? Absolutely busted in Lightning. And Psychic has a Dynamotor. We've got Malamar. So it's just that. So I think this is the best card in the entire set.
All right. We got some questions after this.
Yeah.
And we know the answer to them. Man,
sorry, I went off on a tangent.
Guys, I don't know if you noticed how passionate Jeff got about this stadium. I think this might be the most passionate Jeff has gotten on this podcast.
I'm tired. What can I say?
About any card.
It's part passion, part frustration. I just want that in any other type. Just what?
Hey, now you say all that. Would you still play that in a Tinkaton list?
Yeah, I mean, why not? Like, when do you not want cards? Like,
I mean, I guess you could use the stadium first and then Tinkaton.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. And like, there's so many discard synergies too, right? In Psychic, just like discarding's not that big of a deal. You might worry about like maybe decking out more often, but Tinkaton lists are really fallen off, right? Like, I don't think anyone's playing Tinkaton anymore, at least from what I've seen. It seems like the Xatu Malamar lists kind of seem to be dominating right now. There's like the Iron Boulder lists that are running around. It just
you still got those special energy, Necrozma and Tinkaton lists out there.
Yeah, those might be good. It's been a while since I played those. I'm just thinking about my Psychic deck of choice right now is like Galarian Articuno Loop, because 120 anywhere is busted. Yeah. You pair that with like Penny and Energy Retrieval and all these energy cards. It just seems like, this Mystery Guard card would just fit right in with that, and it just fits right in with what Psychic's trying to do. I mean, yeah,
it's kind of crazy. It might be really good for Iron Boulder and that list and stuff, just being able to get up to kind of refill the hand if they need to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, something to think about too. Yeah.
Yep. Really cool. All right, we got another stadium. I don't know if Jeff is going to get as passionate about this one or frustrated, but it is a really cool one. We got Risky Ruins Stadium. Whenever either player puts a non-dark basic Pokemon onto their bench, put 2 damage counters on that Pokemon. So this is good for, Jeff mentioned earlier, the more of a dark spread list. You can just kind of put this out there amongst some other stadiums that kind of do the same thing. But this is specifically for dark, which is really good.
Yeah. I think it's a type that really wants it. Obviously, poison is a thing in dark. So, being able to put extra damage counters on there to be able to take KOs with poison damage is great. Spread damage, like you mentioned, that new Spiritomb, also just putting extra damage out there to maybe get off a cheesed, 3-price Crobat with a critical bite attack, or maybe even just like soften up something for a Guzzlord, because again, we know that Guzzlord's gotten a little bit falling off the ladder a bit there because of double turbo energy being really its only double energy option to power it up. So losing that 20 damage here, you gained it back, kind of with Risky Ruin. So I like this card. It's going to find its way into some dark lists, not all of them.
Yeah. Yep. I agree with that. Next up, we got another pretty cool card. It's another card for Psychic, nonetheless. It's going to be an item card, Strange Clock. To evolve one of your evolved Psychic Pokemon by returning any number of evolution cards onto it into your hand. So if you have a stage 2, you can take that stage 2 and stage 1, keep the basic out. Or you can just choose to keep it down. This is, I think, more, I don't know if it'll be so good. Do you think, Jeff, in GLC? I don't think there's too many like evolve things besides the Alakazam, which might be more for like a standard format type of deal instead of GLC. If this was like an all-encompassing card, I think you might see it a little bit more in like control list and stuff like that. But I don't know how much I'll see that in Psychic.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. It's like probably more of one to look at the future as we get more like on evolution effects. How does this card play out? Obviously, we have Devolution Spray in the format. So like when you think of like the Psychic combo lists that are playing the double prize not to, this is just another card that you could potentially slot into that deck if you're looking to more combo consistency in the late game. But there's not really a lot going on to it. So again, this is just one. You pull it, just put it in your GLC box for later.
Yeah. Not too much to look into just yet. Next one, we got Surfing Beach. Really cool stadium. Kind of goes well with Palafin, Clauncher. It's a stadium once during each player's turn. That player may switch their active water Pokemon with one of their benched water Pokemon. So it kind of helps you out with that switching ability to help you get those guys online. But it's just another good stadium for water, depending on the cards that you're playing.
Yeah, obviously having another switch out is great in water, especially if that's what you're trying to do with those decks. But the decks have so much already: Switch Raft, Escape Rope, Guzma, Tate and Liza, Bird Keeper. These are all cards that you're like strongly considering. And again, not a lot of special energy options. I don't know if Guzman Hall is really seeing play in a deck like that. It potentially might, though, because Recycle is probably pretty good in a list like this, along with Counter Energy. And obviously, Splash and Wash are pretty good, too. But, do you want to dedicate this spot to a stadium when you could obviously play something that's a little bit more powerful? Like I think Bird Keeper would be that. Tate and Liza is a little bit more flexible. Mal and Lana can give you a discard outlet for if you need to go ahead and draw up with Octillery, and also gives you that heal and switch. So a lot of different options. We'll just add Surfing Beach to the mix, and we'll go from here.
Yep. I think that's exactly what this card entails, and that's pretty much our last trainer that we'll be going over. Now, I know that we have some questions right here. We got our 3 main Pokemon that we'll see for Mega Evolutions, but when it comes to most impactful, most played, overhyped, and favorite, I think we can just say that's Mystery Garden for Jeff for all 4.
Well, I think most impactful for sure. I think Mystery Garden is a card. I think it's a card that people just aren't looking at enough. I don't think. Like, it's hard to remember when Kevin Durant went to the Warriors. It's that.
Yeah.
Like, he's so good, and they were already so good, and then they just won. Obviously, they did lose to LeBron after the 3-1 debacle, right? But, that team was, maybe one of the best teams ever assembled. So, that's kind of how I feel. This is just Kevin Durant going to the Warriors. And, what else was kind of cool? LeBron going to the Lakers. They maybe didn't win right away as much as people had wanted to. And that's, force of vitality. It's just LeBron. Hopefully it works out.
Yeah.
But, most impactful for me is Mystery Garden. Josh, what about you?
Most impactful for me, I'm probably going to go I don't know. I kind of want to put Lunatone there, but I also want to kind of put Lily's Determination there. But it's just another draw card. But who knows the ramifications of that extra 2 depending, because those extra 2 cards could be super important early on. So I'm kind of torn between Lily's Determination and Lunatone.
So I'm definitely going to put Lily's Determination for most played, just because it is the most generic that slots into every deck and makes every deck better right away.
Yeah, and I hate using the same card for more than one question, but yeah, Lily's Determination is gonna have to be most played because it's just the most slot in card of all of the cards that we have.
Yeah.
Something that is overhyped, however.
I mean, I want to say Lunatone, just because I do think that there's a lot that needs to go right for that card. But if fighting has not had draw for so long, it's hard for me to overhype even that. Just like it's appropriately hyped. We should all be so hyped for fighting to finally get draw. So even though I really, really want to put it there, I think that it might be probably. Oh, Nessie, now I'm like, I don't know what my second card's gonna be because I wanted to go Lunatone so hard. Josh, you got an overhyped card while I'm thinking about mine still?
I'm gonna say Lunatone.
Okay,
I'm gonna do it for you so you don't have to.
all right. Well,
I think Lunatone's gonna be overhyped.
I agree.
Well, I think it is because you gotta have another Pokemon on the bench. You gotta have the fighting energy card, and I've just got so much PTSD from having to search for that fighting energy and not having it.
Yeah.
Or
Reverum, dude. Look at Reverum. You mentioned it earlier, dude. We thought
Reverum was supposed to be
set
great.
The world on fire. And and Reverum's just any energy too. Like you could discard special energies to Reverum, and it's still not great. And those Metang lists are trying to play like 11 or 12, and it's still not Reverumin, So
and maybe Reverum would be better if it was in fighting, and maybe Lunatone would be better if it was in metal.
Yeah,
actually,
you kind of think about it. I get it.
Because in fighting, your problem is that you're always playing with a small hand, and in metal, I feel like I always have a huge hand of just crap.
Just useless garbage. Yeah, I mean that's how I feel about metal too. And then the other problem with metal too is just like the attackers cost so much, right? It's like discarding that energy is like, oh man, I hope I get another one to be able to attach it this turn to be able to attack with 3 energy. Where in fighting, you're like, that's just 1. So I just need 2. So here's 1, goodbye, draw 3. Oh, look, here's another one. We're good. I can attack this turn.
So, yeah, and then you play Mount Coronet, but then you only play that, maybe 1 for 1 turn. Maybe it sticks around for a while, but then it's just one of those things. It's not bad by any means, but it's just disappointing.
Yeah.
But overhyped, yeah, Lunatone with all the factors that have to go into it. I hope that I'm wrong, though, 100%. I hope that I'm wrong.
Obviously, yeah. I hope it's appropriately hyped. I hope that fighting gets to draw many, many cards. And I hope that Marnie to 4 on turn 2 is no longer a game-deciding thing for fighting.
Yeah, 100%.
All right. Favorite card, Josh? I think we both know what it's going to be.
Yep. Lieutenant Surge's Dealings, baby.
I mean, that card's just so fun. It's so fun, and it's like good, right? Like, it's like you get to play it, you get to do the silly thing, but like the silly thing is good. Like, I get to either draw 4 cards or take a prize. So like when those two things combine, you're like, yeah, that's a favorite.
I didn't put it on there, but the alt art for it is hilarious. Ooh. It's like a goofy looking card, and he's like lifting, like he's like doing a concentration curl on a bench.
Oh, I did see it. I did think that was.
Did you see it?
Because it was kind of poorly drawn, right? And it was kind of like, it wasn't the best art, but I looked at it immediately and said, I must have that Lieutenant Surge working out.
Yeah, it's so goofy looking. It's perfect. I don't know if that was the intention behind
it. Had to be
the way, but it's just so goofy. I love it,
dude. Gen 1 had just some goofy drawings and renderings back in the day, right? Like the fat Pikachu, like just
Oh,
like
yeah.
stuff like that is great. So that's probably a callback to that, and I kind of love that.
Yeah, bring me back some of the goofy stuff
Yeah.
for real. I mean, like, go hard into the goof.
I mean, this set's kind of full of it though, dude. Like the power shake that does 30 more damage, like that looks just like a Powerade bottle. That's kind of goofy, and I like that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So
Yeah, and this set is also bringing us full art trainers that aren't gold,
okay.
which is kind of cool. I know that a lot of people have been investing in a lot of gold cards to bling out their decks, but we're getting full art trainers that are colored.
Yeah, like Buddy Boffin, right?
Gold. Yeah, Night Stretcher too. Those might be, I don't know how expensive those are going to get because they're brand new. They're not gold, and if you're like me, sometimes the gold gets a little bit crazy. I like the old gold trainers, like the super old gold ones were really nice, but sometimes they kind of get muddled into the deck, and like you just see so much gold you don't know what you're looking for. But yeah, got any last words for us, Jeff?
I still want that dill pickle.
I still want that barbecue sandwich. All right, guys. Well, thank you guys for listening. If you like this video, go ahead, give it a like, give us a subscribe if you have not already. But we enjoyed talking about Mega Evolutions to you guys. Let us know down in the comments what your most favorite or overhyped, most played, most impactful card is. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Remember to stay thankful, and we'll see you later.